Hey, this is Crafty here. We're going to talk about song structure today, but probably not in the way that you would be expecting. So, let's check it out. Before we get into this video, if you haven't watched any other song structure videos of mine, I suggest you go and watch them because they're going to give you a really good basis for what we're going to talk about in this video, which is more traditional, old school style song structure or song form. Yeah, so believe it or not, centuries ago, there was no style of song structure that existed that was verse-chorus. Yeah, weird, right? But yes, look, everything evolves, and in this video, I'm going to start talking about a AAA song structure. What's that? Let's check it out. Okay, AAA song form is called Strophic form. I don't think it's short for catastrophic. Let's hope not. Because a bunch of really good classic songs, traditional songs, have been written in this form. Some people think of it as verse form, some people think of it as chorus form. It's also described as one-part song form. It's because what is happening is you have a bunch of different words being sung over the same music. Okay, my favorite example of AAA song form would be I Walk the Line by Johnny Cash. It's a great song. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep an end out for the tide that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Now, if you know the song, you'll know that there's no other song sections. He does do key changes of that, which is pretty cool. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone in these days too. And yes, I'll admit that I'm a fool for you. Because you're mine, I walk the line. You get it, right? So that's the whole section. No matter what key it's in, it doesn't waver. It doesn't go to anything completely different in chord or melodic or rhythmical structure. So it's an A section, which basically, I guess in this case, it's kind of like a verse. Or you could say it's a chorus, whatever. But it is probably more of a verse because it's telling a story. And it just repeats and repeats and repeats. You could say it's a triple V or just a bunch of verses. But yeah, the traditional way of referring to that type of song form is AAA. Thank you, Johnny Cash, for that example. A couple of other examples of AAA is Amazing Grace. Look, I know that these are super old songs, but hey, music and song form comes from somewhere, right? And then when we got into the 1960s, guys like Simon and Garfunkel would do songs like Bridge Over Troubled Water, which has a AAA. Okay, moving on from AAA, the next form is binary form, which is like A, B, A, B. And that's kind of more or less like a verse-chorus type of thing in a more traditional sense. You could also have A, A, B, A. And A, A, B, A is more, for me, it's more like you've got verse, verse, and then a bridge, and then another verse. That type of form. And so a really good example of AABA form would be Hey Jude by the Beatles. If you think about it, if you know the song, then does it have a chorus? To me, it doesn't. It's more like you've got a couple of verses and then it goes to another section, which I would call the bridge in this case, and then it kind of goes back to the verse. Now, I know in an earlier video on pop song structure and modern song structure, I said that you can sing a song title in a chorus. Generally speaking, that's usually when you would hear a song title, but in this case, it's not a short section that's got very little words. It's basically telling a story each time. And the song title just happens to be the first line. I'm going to quickly struggle through playing and singing this just because Paul McCartney's vocal range is so much higher than mine. I'll sing it down the octave. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. There you go, there's an A section. And then he repeats that A section with some different words. And then at the end of that section, so anytime you feel the pain, hey Jude, refrain. Don't carry the world upon your shoulder. I'm not too sure if those words are correct. I'm just going off the top of my head, alright? But yeah, the point is at the end of the B section it goes na 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 na. Hey Jude, back to the A section. So yeah, so Hey Jude is an AABA, and there's a lot of other songs that do that from that time. Okay, moving on from binary and AABA, we'll go into ternary form, which is a 3-part musical form, which is basically just an A and a B and an A. And they're sort of considered, rather than it being ABC, A is kind of like, I guess, a rejig of the first A. But anyway, that's a really old, traditional, very classical style song form. Is there anything in modern music that you can think that is anything like what I've been talking about? A lot of it's really old school, and the beauty about knowing about it is because every so often you find something new that does come out that is very traditional. I find that if I'm watching a musical of some kind, that the chances of having some old traditional type of song form is in there, and it's a nice refreshing change than just hearing verses and choruses all the time. Okay, last thing I'm going to say on this subject is, well, what's the point of knowing all of this old type of song structure if you aren't going to be looking at it if you just only do modern stuff? Well, something I guess that is somewhat modern is the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Not because it came out in the last few years, but the movie, the Queen movie, definitely gave the song a big resurge. And what is that song form? You know, Bohemian Rhapsody is crazy with the amount of different sections that are in it. So what I would suggest is that you go through that song and have a listen and then figure out, well, what might be somewhat similar to a verse? Is there a chorus in it? I don't really know. Like, there's definitely a solo. But yeah, if I was trying to write out that song form, what I would potentially do is I would be using letters. So the intro, you might say, is an A, or you could just call it an intro, and then the mama just killed a man, that whole section you could call an A, for instance. And then from there, as we get into the mamma mia, and the dun doo 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 doo, all of that kind of stuff, you could say, well, they're just different letters. It's just a way of giving each section a category. You just need to give it its own identity so that you know what bit it is, rather than just saying, oh, it's that bit that goes no, 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 no. If you have a clearer picture in your mind of what the section is called, then learning songs and creating songs, if you're creating a song that's got a lot of different extra song structure elements than just your normal standard pop song structure, well then you'll be able to categorize them and be able to be a lot clearer on what they are. So there you have it, a bunch of classical and crazier letter name types of song structure, song form. Was that interesting? Was it insightful? Did you learn anything? Let me know in the comments below. And also, please let me know if there's any modern examples that you can think of that either are AAA or AABA or ternary form, because I couldn't find any in my minutes of Googling. So yeah, if you can find any, I'd love to know what they are. Let me know. My name's Crafty. It's always a pleasure talking about this music stuff with you. I've got a bunch of extra music videos on this channel. I also have a Facebook group where we can discuss all things music. So go be a part of all of that stuff, and I'll see you in another video here real soon.